Hello dear friends, welcome to my channel, that is Prasad's Learning Hub, and the main motto of my channel is to excel in life sciences field. As in the previous video we have discussed about the biomolecules, where we have discussed various types of biomolecules, that is micromolecules, macromolecules, and again inorganic, organic molecules. So we have discussed some detailed facts about biomolecules. But this video is the continuation of the previous video. So here we will be discussing the another part of biomolecules, that is carbohydrate, and the one type of carbohydrate, that is monosaccharides, where we will be discussing the different types of monosaccharides, some properties of monosaccharides, and the bonds which are involved in the formation of disaccharides, oligosaccharides, and polysaccharides. So without any delay, let us start our video. So first of all, we should know what is monosaccharide. As we all know, mono means one and saccharides means sugar. So it is the smallest group of carbohydrates, also known as simple sugars. So monosaccharides are simple sugars, and its general formula is CnH2ON, and they cannot be further hydrolyzed, meaning is that it cannot be further broken down into simpler form, because itself it is a simplest group of carbohydrate. So if we look the different types of monosaccharides, then on the basis of the number of carbon atom found in the monosaccharides are divided into 5 types. So they are trioses, tetroses, pentoses, hexoses, and heptoses. So trioses have 3 carbon atoms such as glyceraldehyde, dihydroxyacetone, and tetroses has 4 carbon atoms, that is erythrose, threose. These are the example of tetroses. Pentoses have 5 carbon atoms, and it has formula C5H10O5. For example, the pentoses are like ribose, xylose, deoxyribose, arbinose, ribulose. All these are pentoses, types of monosaccharides. But one thing we should keep in mind here is that deoxyribose is also a pentose, but it has formula C5H10O4, because in deoxyribose of oxygen atom here we will get one absent. So this is the main difference between like other pentoses and deoxyribose pentose sugar. Another type is hexoses, which has 6 carbon atoms, and examples are glucose, fructose, galactose, and mannose. Heptoses, which contain 7 carbon atoms, for example pseudoheptulose, glucoheptulose. So again, further on the basis of functional groups found in monosaccharides, it is divided into 2 types. They are aldoses and ketoses. So aldoses are monosaccharides which has aldehyde group, that is CHO group. So for example, like glyceraldehyde and glucose are aldoses. Ketoses monosaccharide has functional group ketone, which is CO group. CO group are found here, you can see. For example, dihydroxyacetone and fructose are ketoses. Now let us see one very important property of monosaccharides. So one of the important characteristics of monosaccharides is stereoisomerism. So it is actually what? So stereoisomers are the compounds that have the same structural formula, but it has different spatial configuration. So those compound which have same molecular formula, or sorry, structural formula, but they have different configuration, so they are known as stereoisomers, and this property is known as stereoisomerism. So again, we should know that carbon is said to be asymmetric when it is attached to 4 different atoms or groups. So the number of asymmetric carbons atom determines possible isomers of a given compound, which is equal to 2 to the power n. So for example, glucose has 4 asymmetric carbons, and due to this glucose has 16 isomers. Again, glyceraldehyde, which is a triose, means monosaccharide which has 3 carbon atom, is the simplest monosaccharide, and it has 1 asymmetric carbon, and due to this it has 2 stereoisomer form, and due to this property it has been chosen as the reference carbohydrate to represent the structure of all other carbohydrates. So sometimes question may come related to glyceraldehyde. It is the reference carbohydrate, and all the structure of other carbohydrate is based on this smallest molecule, that is glyceraldehyde. Now let us see what is DNL isomers. So DNL isomers are mirror images of each other, and the spatial orientation of hydrogen and hydroxyl groups on the carbon atom is adjacent to the terminal primary alcohol carbon, which determines whether the sugar is L or D and L isomer. So if we want to know that which is D and L isomer, we have to keep in mind that the hydroxyl group, that is OH group, is present on right side, whereas in D series it is present on right side, whereas in L series it is present in left hand side. It will be clear if we look here in the structure that in D-glyceraldehyde the hydroxyl group is present on right hand side, here you can see, and on in L-glyceraldehyde it is present on left hand side. Similarly for D-glucose it is on right hand side, and for L-glucose it is on left hand side. So this is how you can identify whether the particular compound is D of D series or L series. Again, here we have to keep in mind that the naturally occurring monosaccharides, which is in every mammalian tissues, the naturally occurring monosaccharides are mostly of D configuration, and also the enzyme machinery of cells is specific to metabolize D series of monosaccharides. So you have to keep in mind that D series are abundant and plays very important role in living systems. Now let us see the another property of monosaccharides. So the another property of monosaccharide is optical activity of sugars. As we all know that the optical activity is a characteristic feature of compounds which is having a symmetric carbon atom. So only those compounds which have a symmetric carbon atom shows the optical activity. So what actually happen in optical activity or optical property? It is when a beam of polarized light is passed through a solution of an optical isomer, then it will be rotated either to left or right. So those compounds which rotate on the right side, then it is known as dextro-rotatory, and it is designated by positive sign. And those which rotate on left hand side, then it is known as levorotatory, which is designated by negative sign. So this is how you can say that which is having positive or negative or D or L isomers, which shows the optical activity, whether it will move to right or to the left. Here again one important thing we should know, that is what is racemic mixture. So when D and L isomers which are present in equal concentrations, it is known as racemic mixture or DL mixture. So racemic mixture does not exhibit any optical activity. So we have to keep in mind that those mixture which has D and L isomers of equal concentrations, those are known as a racemic mixture, and racemic mixture does not show optical activity because the dextro and levorotatory activities of each other is cancelled, it is neutralized, due to which they do not show any optical activity. Further, what is epimer and what is enantiomers, we have to know if we are studying about monosaccharides. So if two monosaccharides differ from each other in their configuration around a single specific carbon, those monosaccharides are known as epimers to each other. For example, glucose and galactose, they differ at carbon number position in their structure, that is they differ in the arrangement of hydroxyl group at carbon number 4. So that is why glucose and galactose are epimers. Further, glucose and mannose are also epimers, and they differ in their structure at carbon number 2. So these epimers can be interconnected by a process and can be converted from one form to another form, means they can be interconversion can be done of epimers, like glucose can be converted to galactose and galactose can be converted further to glucose by a process known as epimerization. So in this epimerization process, the group of enzymes are involved which is known as epimerases. So this is very important thing, we should know that what is epimerization, and the enzymes involved in epimerization process is known as epimerases. So now let us see what is enantiomers. So enantiomers are a special type of stereoisomers. We have seen in stereoisomerism that L and D, these mirror image compounds, are known as isomers. So stereoisomers, a special type of stereoisomers is known as enantiomers. So the two members are designated as L or D sugar. Next, let us see one very important term, that is anomers. So what is anomers? So the hydroxyl group of monosaccharides can react with its aldehyde group or keto group, functional group, to form hemiacetal or hemiketal. So the aldehyde group of glucose at carbon number 1 reacts with alcohol at carbon number 5 to form two types of cyclic hemiacetals, namely known as alpha and beta. So due to this property, the alpha and beta cyclic forms of monosaccharides are known as anomers. They differ from each other in the configurations only, so around carbon number 1. So that is why they are known as anomeric carbon, hemiacetal carbon. So in alpha form of D-glucose, we will find that hydroxyl group is written below. You can see here, this is a alpha D glucopyranose. Here in alpha form of anomers we will write hydroxyl group below at carbon number 1 position, but in beta form it is written at the top or at the above of the carbon number 1. So that is the main difference between alpha and beta form of anomers. And here at carbon number 1 the aldehyde group CHO group is which react with alcohol to form hemiacetals, and the two types, it is known as aldehyde and alpha and beta form. So this is the main difference between alpha and beta forms of anomers. Now let us move forward and discuss another important properties of monosaccharides, that is reducing properties. So sugars possessing anomeric carbon atom always undergo one process known as taumerization in alkaline solutions. So what is tautomerization? So tautomerization or enolization, it is a process of shifting hydrogen atom from one carbon atom to another, and it finally produce enadiols. Okay, so this tautomerization or enolizations produce indiols. So the indiols are very highly reactive, and due to this reactive property of indiols, the sugars in alkaline solutions shows powerful reducing agent property. So for testing that any monosaccharides, whether it is having reducing property is there or not, we generally employ many different tests. So for example, there are some tests like Benedict's test, Fehling's test, Barfoit's test. All these tests are used to determine the reducing actions of sugars. So this is very important related to reducing properties of monosaccharides. So what actually happened? Here is one example that sugar, it produce enadiol due to tautomerization or enolizations, and here in copper sulfate the cupric ion is getting converted into cuprous ion in the presence of enadiol, or the reducing property of sugar, like which get converted into sugar acid, further leads to conversion of cupric oxide to cuprous oxide, and further it gives cuprous hydroxide, which is yellow in color, and later on again it will give cuprous oxide, which is red in color. So this is how a test is performed to test whether the sugar or monosaccharide has reducing property or not. Now let us see the derivatives of monosaccharides. So monosaccharides are modified variously to produce different kinds of substance. For example, deoxy sugars. During deoxygenation of ribose, it produces deoxyribose. What actually happened? It contains one oxygen less, due to which the CHOH or CH2OH group, which is found in monosaccharide, get converted to CH2 and CH3, and due to this one oxygen is absent, we can see here. So in deoxy sugars or deoxyribose, we get one absent is not there. So due to which it is a type of monosaccharides, but it has one less oxygen. So deoxy sugars are a derivatives of monosaccharides, and deoxyribose is found in structural constituent of DNA. So in DNA it has deoxyribose sugar, which is a pentose sugar having 5 carbon. So it is a type of monosaccharides. Next derivative of monosaccharide is amino sugars. So when one or more hydroxyl group of monosaccharides are replaced by amino group, that is NH2 group, and due to which the amino sugars are formed. For example, glucosamine, galactosamine, these are amino sugars. And what are their functions? Glucosamine, it is found in chitin. As we all know, the exoskeleton of insects is made up of chitin, so it contains amino sugars. Fungus or fungus cellulose, it is also a amino sugars, that is glucosamine. Hyaluronic acid and chondroitin sulfate, this is a type of glucosamine, or it is a type of amino sugars. So another derivative of monosaccharide is sugar acids. So after oxidation of aldehyde or primary alcohol group which is found in monosaccharides, it forms sugar acids. For example, ascorbic acid is a sugar acid. And another example is glucuronic acid, galacturonic acid, it is found in mucopolysaccharides. All these are derivatives of monosaccharides. Next derivatives of monosaccharide is sugar alcohols. So they are produced by reduction of aldoses or ketoses. For example, glycerol, which is involved in lipid synthesis, is a type of sugar alcohol. Mannitol, which is storage alcohol, is also a type of sugar alcohols. It is found in some fruits and also in brown algae. Now let us see that how in disaccharide or in oligosaccharides or in polysaccharides the monosaccharides are attached together. So these are attached together by one bond known as glycosidic bond. So the monosaccharides are linked by glycosidic bond, that is COC bond. You can see here, this is one monosaccharides, this is one monosaccharide, that is glucose. So glucose is attached by a bond, that is COC bond, which is known as glycosidic bond. Here maltose is a disaccharide which has glucose plus glucose, and these are connected by a bond known as glycosidic bond. So monomers are held together by a glycosidic bonds, due to which disaccharides